Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. Thanks for your support on Patreon, Justin. Could you be any better than Matthew Perry? There's been a major change to The Fiend's character. Roman Reigns gets a pretty rough main event angle, and Elias spanks Drake Maverick. And yet another crazy Vince McMahon backstage rule has been revealed. Click the timestamps below to jump to any of those stories right now. I'm Oli Davis, and welcome to the 6th of December 2019 episode of SmackDown in about 4 minutes. The show opened with a recap package of last week, where The Fiend attacked Daniel Bryan from under the ring and pulled off a load of his hair. Bray Wyatt to the Nightmare Collective confirmed. In that wonderful pro wrestling way, nobody has seen Bryan in the week since. And rather than contact the police or those paranormal expert people from the movie Insidious, WWE let The Miz get to the bottom of it. Because as he said in his opening in-ring promo, he may not like Daniel Bryan. He'll never be friends with Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan's life means nothing to him. But he cares about Daniel Bryan, so he's going to get to the bottom of this. Which makes very little sense. But any character motivation logic holes were overshadowed by one of the most interesting developments in Wyatt's Fiend character since Hell in a Cell. He's probably gonna wrestle in a cardigan. Hear me out? This is genuinely possibly really exciting. Miz was interrupted by a Firefly Funhouse sketch where Bray talked about once having a family of his own, with a quick flash of him together with Harper and Rowan, but he hasn't got one anymore. Hey, maybe he'll just take the Miz's. That's not creepy or inappropriate. So he gets out a picture of Miz, Maurice and their 2 kids and photoshops his face on it. She's my wife now. This better turn into a Firefly Funhouse crossover with Miz and Mrs. Miz's acting was excellent here, as he rang Maurice telling her to lock all the doors as he was coming home right now, before being attacked by Wyatt backstage. And that's the crucial thing here. For the first time since Bray's new gimmick began the night after WrestleMania, we've seen Wyatt outside of the Firefly Funhouse, not as The Fiend. And it's not going to stop there, as rather than the reportedly planned Fiend vs Daniel Bryan rematch for next Sunday's TLC, which Vince McMahon apparently keeps changing his mind on, The Miz vs Bray Wyatt was officially announced for the show. Wyatt's first match as Mr. Rogers Bray. This does make sense, as The Fiend so far has only been used to go after people who wronged Bray in the past, like Seth Rollins, Finn Balor and Bryan. Miz and Wyatt don't have that kind of history together, so The Fiend wouldn't manifest himself here. It's a wonderful attention to detail and an even more wonderful match graphic. Look at Bray, he's so happy. How Bray's cardigan wearing, mostly non-violent, creepy children's show host character translates into the ring, however, remains to be seen. I'm sure WWE will find a way to ruin it with fun, lighting, nursery rhyme music playing throughout, or puppets around the ring. But I love how it adds yet another layer to an already incredibly rich gimmick. And the feud with Miz is a fantastic way to elongate the Bryan storyline, who's still missing, by the way. Someone should really contact the police. Unfortunately, the rest of the show wasn't very good. Alexa Bliss beat Mandy Rose in her in-ring return despite having a fake eyelash pulled off. Elias and Dana Brooke squashed Drake Maverick. In the ring with classic short person spots like being held back by one arm and being spanked like a child. This all spun out of Brooke and Batista's publicly thirsty relationship on Twitter, which Vince McMahon somehow managed to turn into Elias sleeping with Maverick's wife. He has gone hard into this cuckold stuff this year. Off the back of their new podcast launching as the #1 sports show in the world, did I mention we here at WrestleTalk have our own award-winning WrestleTalk podcast? Download almost daily episodes wherever you get your audio content. The New Day watch the Lucha Bros versus Ali and Chad Gable, though I will not call him by his new name, versus Heavy Machinery versus The Revival in a #1 contenders elimination match, which The Revival won. I'm always up for a Revival versus New Day match, especially if a ladder stipulation eventually gets added in. But on first reactions, those 2 teams fighting feels a bit stale. Sheamus cut a backstage promo about how everyone on SmackDown is soft and he's here to show them what real toughness is, which is also Drew McIntyre's gimmick on Raw and Finn Balor's gimmick on NXT. Those Celts, eh? Lacey Evans beat a local historical theme park guide in a lame squash match next, because she's blonde, which brought out Sasha Banks for a promo back and forth, which Evans won't be made a fool out of because she was a Marine and a mother and a Marine. Did I mention she was a Marine? Bayley jumped her for the heel heat. Michael Cole announced Shane McMahon is going to face LL Cool J in an NCIS Los Angeles match. Look at Shane, look how happy he is. It's like he won a competition to star on that show. Cole described WWE's Tribute to the Troops event from earlier this week as their most important show of the year, more than WWE Fastlane. And the main event saw Roman Reigns beat Dolph Ziggler despite attempted interference from King Corbin. Because not even the main event is safe from the pull of King Corbin's
mid-card vortex!
It was a standard Reigns TV match, and afterwards not just the heels in Ziggler and Corbin, but also the 6 dudes who helped carry Corbin down the ramp all had to overcome Roman to handcuff him to the post, including some guy under the ring that was never brought up again. Hornswoggle? And because, haha, heels, Corbin and Ziggler poured dog food over Reigns as the big main event angle. I hope you're happy with that more sports-based wrestling show you bought for $1 billion, Fox! That was this week's SmackDown in about 4 minutes, but probably 5. Click the eye above my head to let me know what you thought of the show, where you can choose from Smacknificent, Smacktastic, Smack Bang in the Middle, Smackdowner, and a Smack in the Face. I really loved the Bray Wyatt and Miz stuff, not just because it was good in isolation, but more because of the potential it has for further down the line. Unfortunately, that was the only properly good thing on this episode, with middling in-ring action, unfunny comedy, and the incredibly childish main event angle. I think we all hoped SmackDown would become a more serious sports-style show on Fox, but it's unfortunately doubled down on Vince's most immature tendencies. This week's SmackDown is a Smackdowner, and that's not the only weird quirk Vince apparently has backstage. Last night's episode of SmackDown didn't just have the usual Vince McMahon tropes of mocking short people, wrestlers sleeping with other people's wives, and immature humor. There was also a weirdly specific piece of scripting, like even more weird and specific than WWE's usual scripting. In Roman Reigns' backstage interview with Kyla Braxton midway through the show, he turned his attention to mid-card Vortex leader King Corbin, who he described thusly. The man is 6'6", almost 6'8". Baron Corbin is such a tall 6'6", he's almost 6'8", completely skipping 6'7". Usually we'd just assume this was a misread line. But then WWE wrestler Kevin Owens pointed out, this isn't the first time this has happened. A story. Years ago, my wife and I were watching WWE and a commentator said someone was 6'6" or 6'8" and skipped 6'7". It broke me. I still talk about it. Tonight, Roman used the same height estimate and also skipped 6'7". Why can't people be 6'7"? I need to know. The end. The same company that can barely tell consistent storylines in one 2-hour episode can consistently ignore the height of 6'7" for years. Further supporting the theory, or also maybe just doing his favorite pastime of Twitter trolling, SmackDown commentator Corey Graves replied about the missing measurement. It's on the list. You know, the one with belt, strap, feud, etc. Corey is referring to the long-reported List of McMahon, which contains all the words and phrases that really annoy the company boss and are thus banned from being uttered in WWE. And as one of the leading on-air voices of the product, nobody would know that better than Graves. As Corey pointed out, championship title should always be used instead of belt and strap, and rivalry is to be used instead of feud. Other notable examples include local medical facility instead of hospital, and sports entertainment instead of wrestling. And now, weirdly, we can add 6'7" to the list. What do you think about the whole 6'7" conspiracy? Let me know in the comments, because I'll be answering from out of nowhere for the first 30 minutes after this video goes live. But as weird and sometimes allegedly toxic a working environment WWE can be, new reports have the company really helping one of its most self-destructive stars. Jeff Hardy hasn't had the best 2019. Despite the Hardy Boys winning the SmackDown Tag Team belts from the Usos, remember them, in April, they had to vacate the straps several weeks later because of Jeff's knee injury. He was written off TV by being attacked by Lars Sullivan, also remember him. While Matt's 3-year WWE deal expires at the end of February, with him expected to go to AEW, PW Insider is reporting that Jeff's contract has been frozen since becoming inactive in April, and therefore therefore won't be able to leave with his brother early next year if he wanted to. But while WWE stopping big-name talent going to their competitors is one motivating factor behind keeping Jeff locked down, there's also a significantly more important reason. Since being written off TV in April, Jeff has been arrested for public intoxication in July and was then arrested again in October and charged with a DWI, following a similar charge the previous year. Jeff has struggled with substance abuse throughout his career, and PW Insider write that WWE want to help him overcome that. WWE strongly implored Jeff to address his health, and we're told that Jeff is doing that and really aggressively dove right into it. Jeff had a court date for his most recent DWI earlier this week, but there's no word yet on how that went. Hopefully Jeff can use WWE's support and stability to help manage what he's going through. Charlotte Flair has admitted to being unhappy in WWE. Click the video on the right to find out more. And we've got brand new merch. Help support WrestleTalk and buy a t-shirt by clicking the little lorry down there. I've been Oli Davis, and that was wrestling.